and I'm going to do a brief presentation on what is history. I'm not going to talk about a specific event that took place, but what is history in general? How do we define it? I have to apologize, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but I hope we can get through it. Alright, let's start. So what is history? History is facts that we can find when we research certain events or things. We know it took place in the past, so it's a little bit different from all the other natural sciences, where the theories and everything can change, but because history, it's events that took place in the past, it is fixed. So we can think that it's fixed. It has happened in the past and we cannot change that. But there are other ideas we have to think when we think about history. Because it's happened in the past, the persons alive nowadays, they haven't seen what actually took place in the 1600s, for example. So what we think about the history of the 1600s or something that took place in the past, it might be inaccurate because we don't have all the facts or all the events that took place, or it might be even completely wrong. So when we create a theory, first we have to look at the facts that we know from written records, from archaeology, or anything. And then when we have enough facts, we can start to form theories. But the theories, we have to think, they are shaped by the historians' paradigms. So they look at life, their culture, their belief, the place they grew up in, that all will complement to how they interpret the history or the facts. And sometimes when we try to form theories, there are too little facts available. For example, the Maya culture in South America. We know that there are all these buildings, but we still don't know why we built them, why they built them, what were the purpose, what actually these Mayan cultures believed in, because there are too little facts available. But nowadays, the recent history shows us a new problem. Sometimes there are too many facts. So we have to decide which facts are important in order to form a theory. Because nowadays, because of the internet, all the written documents, everything that's produced, we produce so many facts a day. We need to decide what of those facts are important and what is relevant and what is not. And one thing is source reliability when we look at the facts and where we get our sources. Secondary data, written data, is already processed by humans, so it's already affected by one person's beliefs, culture, and their look on life. So like, you can say like, I'm from Europe, if I write something down about a certain event, I might write it down differently than people from Thailand. It's affected by the culture and where we grew up. And when historians, when they are forming theories, they should be as unbiased as they can. But it's really hard, especially if you're writing about the history of your own country. Then we tend to be biased. We see our own country as a great country. We believe all the great things that happen, and rarely people don't want to write bad things about their own countries. So this is where we have to choose, or we decide to choose specific facts based on our beliefs or paradigms. History is also called art of creation because we can't really see how it actually was. So we have to try to create possible pictures and everything, what it might have looked like. We don't know for certain because it's in the past. And history is always shaped by the winners. Well, one reason for that, because sometimes the losers, they're dead. And, well, we can look at the history shaped by winners. When we think about the atom bomb, Americans dropped in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, if Americans would have actually lost the war, our interpretation of that atom bomb would be different. We may consider it as a really bad thing, but now, because history is written by winners, we look at it as the reason that ended the Second World War. And history is always also study of individuals. History throughout time has been shaped by strong individuals. Like the history of Europe is shaped by Napoleon, Hitler, Stalin, Lenin. We can look at that. So we have to try to study these individuals, but it's hard because the facts, they are not unbiased. They are written by people who don't actually know what these individuals were thinking when they did something in time. And history also looks at the cause and effect. So when we look at a certain event in history, first we have to look at the cause. But here is a problem also. So how far behind we have to go when we look at the cause of something? But there's an example that a country lost a battle, lost the war because the country lost a battle. And the battle was lost because the messenger was late. And the messenger was late because his horse shoe fell off. And the horse shoe fell off because the horse ran into a rock. So we are looking at the cause from far, far, far. But we have to decide where we stop. Where's the root cause? Or when it gets ridiculous when you're looking at the cause of something. And how far ahead should we look at certain effects of some event? That's what historians are trying to decide. And when creating a theory, the theory should be based on facts, and after that, reasoning of these facts. So there are some facts, and then what's a logical reasoning we can form from these facts. And history may change over time. Like some people that are now called terrorists might be later called freedom fighters. Depends on if they win or lose. We can look at an example from Soviet Russia. First, when the communists took over, they were called terrorists. But after they actually took over the whole country and they formed Soviet Russia, they were called freedom fighters. They liberated the country from under the rule of Tsar. So history is strongly formed and shaped by films. And history is complicated. It's a conclusion. So we have to look at all these different things. How we form certain theory, what affects the theory. We have to realize that not all the data we get is not unbiased, already shaped by someone else's beliefs, culture, and paradigms.